first and foremost, I want to introduce a newly appointed board member, Peter Goldman. Gannon, I'm sorry, Gannon, I was thinking of our attorney, I'm sorry. Gannon, I don't want to get into Syracuse. Welcome.
Ice cream, very ice cream.
Coach, owner of that. Welcome.
Thank you.
To the head of the
United Way.
United Way. Great to have you here.
Appreciate it.
And looking forward to your participation in your leadership. Now, the next order of business, I'll turn it over to Ms. Walsh.
Sure. So we have a meeting of the audit committee today, Thursday, March 12th. It's 10 a.m. So we're going to do a call to order and roll call. I'm present. John McMaza.
Here.
Sarah Reginelli. Here. Alejandro Polino. Here. Jasmine Higgins. Here. Danielle Melendez.
Here.
Okay, great. Next item on the agenda is the meeting minutes review from December 11th, 2025. They're found in your packet. If there's any comments or questions on the minutes, you can raise them. Otherwise, a motion to approve. Sorry. Do we have to do like a roll call, Tom, or is it just first and second? No. Okay. So then we have the audit presentation from Kevin Testo from Bonadino.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. I am Kevin Testo. I'm a partner with the Bonadino Group. I'm here to present the draft of the 2025 financial statements. So over the past month or so, we've been working with Amy to complete this audit in a pretty tight turnaround, I would say. And we are done. We're done with our work. We feel very comfortable with the results that are included in the financial statements that you have today. After today's approval, we will ask management to sign the representation letter, and at that time, these financial statements will become final. They'll have our signature on it. So what I was going to do today, just give you a brief highlight of two documents, the financial statements themselves, as well as what's called the required communications letter. I'm going to start with the financial statements, which is the 20-page-ish document. And I'm holding it up so in case you can see it. And I always like to start by saying the first 2 pages of the financial statements is what we as auditors are responsible for. Everything else in there is management's numbers, it's management's disclosures. So there are about 3 pages of opinions. And all that says is that we are issuing what's called an unmodified or unqualified audit opinion, stating that the financial statements that are attached are free from material misstatement and that they were prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. It's the highest level of assurance that auditors can provide, and certainly something that you want to hear. So looking at page 4 of the financial statements, this is also management's disclosure. It's called management's discussion and analysis, or MD&A. This is where management can really state anything that they want to talk about what's happening during the year. We read it, we make sure it's in line with what we audited. But you can see here, and you'll see in just a minute, there was a lot of activity in 25. If you're comparing it to the 2024 financial statements, it's a big difference. There was hardly any activity in 2024. It was for a short period of time because the authority didn't start until September of 24. So this is really the first full year, first 12 months that you will see activity for 2025. And I'll talk about that right now. If you turn to page 5, this is the statement of net position or the balance sheet for the authority. Yes.
In your package, it starts on page 85.
Oh, okay.
And then you can start to see the numbers that Kevin's referring to.
So he's referring to page 91.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I was referring to the little page number down below, but yeah. Okay, so looking on page 91, this is the statement of net position for the balance sheet. As I mentioned, a lot of activity. As everyone knows, what happened during the year. The property of the college came onto the books of the authority. That's really what you're seeing for the $35 million. And then, of course, bonds were issued, which you can see down below, bond payable of $34 million, and then there's a current portion of about $5 million. So total over $40 million in bonds payable. As part of that bond issuance, over $4 million went and were held in a debt reserve. That's what you're seeing in the investment line. That is required to be held in U.S. securities, but you can see that as an additional asset of the authority. So overall, down below, and I just also want to point out, you can see the net position, or quote unquote equity during the year. That $4.1 million of investments is restricted because it's tied to the bond offering. Okay. So how did that all change from one year to the next? Well, you can look at the P&L, or the statement of revenue and expenses, on the next page, which is 92. The revenue that came in for the year really all came from Albany County. That was grant revenue that we confirmed as part of our audit. And then all the expenses that you can see, were the two biggest I want to point out is in insurance, as well as down below in non-operating, which is the bond issuance costs, and then of course interest expense. Just want to make it clear too that interest expense was accrued at the end of the year, so no cash payments actually went out, but obviously will in 2026, and I believe already did. So that was an expense that was accrued during the year. And then turning to the next page, statement of cash flows really gives a little better idea of how cash came in and came out during the year. I want to focus just on the top, net cash used by operating activities. Pretty much a break-even year. What came in from grants actually went out from the operating expenses. Everything else was really the bond issuance, so cash came in. You can see that in the financing activities. And then, of course, you use that cash to purchase the properties. So at the end of the year, only $170,000 was in cash because it's all tied up in the assets of the properties. So the rest of the financial statements, and this was expanded upon from last year, goes through the significant accounting policies. I won't read them all. It's just a lot of information about what the authority is doing, what policies are actually being used. Note 3, although it's very little activity, shows the property that was purchased and is held at the end of the year. That will evolve over time as properties are sold, but that's all really set up for future disclosures. And then I want to just point out on page 11, which is page 97 of your package, the expected bond payments when they are due. And then at the bottom, note 7 talks about subsequent events. So it's telling the reader, okay, this is what happened in 2025, but as of today, March 12th, certain sales have occurred or will occur in the near future. That really tells the reader how expected cash flow is going to work, at least for the first few months of 2026. Okay. And then finally, I just want to point out the last 2 pages of the package is required under government auditing standards for us to issue an opinion as to whether there are proper internal controls around financial reporting. This is a clean audit opinion around that. We as auditors need to understand how Amy and her team prepare internal accounting, and there was no issues or significant deficiencies that we needed to know. Okay. And then finally, the last piece, because we're required, which is why it's called a required communications letter, that is will be a public document. I believe it is posted. And it talks about how the audit went. Were there any disagreements? Were there any problems in getting the information that we needed to complete the audit? There were none, which is why we're here on March 12th, explaining that we are done. And it just talks about if there's also any adjustments that we made. The only adjustment that we made was because we confirmed with Albany County is that we recommended a receivable be recorded at the end of the year because that was money that was actually owed to the authority for 2025 events. So management accepted that adjustment and it's included in the statements that we've already discussed. So that is my brief report. I'm happy to answer any questions. And we'll leave it with that.
Thank you very much.
In here you list pending sales. There in the
In note 7, subsequent events?
yeah, and I've been flipping the pages now. I know what number it is. 97. Okay. Yeah, I thank you. Under subsequent events, we have a commitment for 13 million on Centennial Hall. How is that? Why is that not reflected?
Wasn't made aware to us, but we could certainly add it as well.
Because that's a, you know, I don't know, am I off?
This is all-
That it's not.
This is a 2025 audit.
No,
It
that's-
hasn't been
it's-
signed yet, but it will be.
No, but the others haven't been signed either. I think-
They haven't been, that's, these are all
It should be.
subsequent events, and
Yeah.
clearly that is a commitment we've made. But it reflects in how much we've
Yeah.
accomplished, you
Absolutely.
know, towards the debt reduction of 35 million, which is one, you know, a primary goal of this organization. So I just want, you know,
We'll make sure we
is
get
that an
that.
adjustment we can make before this is finalized?
Oh, absolutely.
I would ask that you do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
board, okay with that?
When is the next reporting period?
Well,
Yeah, so just so we're all clear on what we're talking about here, what Kevin's doing is, the audit was something he talked about, and with every audit, they always talk about what are the subsequent events that have happened after the reporting period, so after, you know, the end of 2025. And what Kevin just listed here was the Henry Johnson Charter School possible deal, and, you know, some of the others, and they just suggested that this should also include the possible transaction with the University of Centennial Hall.
You build it as possible?
Yeah, well, because we haven't signed the person's sale agreement yet. So it's not done.
I just have to
and
clarify
we
if it's
haven't
possible.
on,
and
we
then-
haven't on these others.
No,
I'm just saying, it's missing. I haven't got a problem with any of it, other than I think we need to have.
When is the next reporting period?
next year.
Calendar year.
Oh, next
Yeah.
calendar.
It's, you know, this is just to kind of make the reader aware of things that happened since the end of the reporting period. You know, you know, just so everybody in reading this knows that there are these other subsequent events that may actually occur, or may not. You know, Centennial Hall is very likely. In fact, I think we'll be reporting a little bit later today that we've completed our negotiations and we're ready to move to a purchase and sale.
I think just confirming that committed is the accurate word to use in the note.
Yes, so it's a good question, Sarah. So these transactions don't have to close, in my opinion. They have to have some sense of commitment that we can look at as part of audit evidence to feel comfortable disclosing.
And the internal controls, no issues.
No.
So I will get the 90-day statement for Centennial Hall.
Okay, that's great. I just, you know, I'm not trying to point out, but I think it's a big number that we need to talk, you know, that where we're at in retiring is that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Are there any other comments or questions on the audit? Okay. There's a number of resolutions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. So the first resolution before you is under the Public Authority Law, Section 2805. There is a requirement that the auditor be independent. And largely what that means is that the auditor is not part of the staff. They don't provide financial system assistance. They don't implement, they don't run our financial system. That's laid out in the resolution. It's the last whereas clause on the second page of the resolution, or the third to last, excuse me. But it lays out the criteria that's provided in the statute to confirm that the auditor is independent, actually someone outside of our entity, not involved in the management, not involved in running our financial systems, not providing other types of services other than the audit. And that's accurate with respect to Kevin ACPHLA, or Bonatti. So that's the resolution before you. And again, this is just to confirm the independence. This is in the audit committee chart of the audit.
Does this require a roll call?
This is- Yeah, first, second.
Okay.
I'll move the resolution.
Alright, second. I'll second. Okay. Thank you. Alright, I noticed just as a flag, John Negros noted on the resolution as a voting member, should that be resolved?
Yeah, we edited this after the vote is.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, we do.
Alright, Allison Walsh, aye. Dominic Mazza,
Aye.
Alejandro Polino, aye. Sarah Denali, aye. Jasmine Higgins, aye. Danielle Melendez. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, she can't vote.
She can't vote remotely.
oh, okay, alright, thank you.
But she can certainly stay her view.
Yeah.
Alright.
And I just point out that, Peter is here, but until his oath is filed with the county, he can't vote. But you're welcome to participate in any level you want, sir.
I'm appalled by the whole thing. So nice. All sounds good, so straightforward.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, the second audit before you, this is 260302, is, and I'm skipping over B, I'm going down to resolution approving the 2025 audited financial statements and accepting the independent audit. So this is within our audit committee charter. The audit committee is the entity, the body that actually accepts and approves the financial statements. Again, it's a little bit fictional in the sense that the entire audit committee is also the entire board. So, but it is in our audit committee charter that this is the body that does it. And that's proper, that's actually under the public authorities law. So you'll see in the resolution, again, there's some whereas clauses talking about the creation of the entity of our authority, the references to the sections of the public authorities law, and then also to the audit committee charter, which provides that this resolution shall be considered and by the audit committee. So this basically says the audit committee, having reviewed the authority's 25 independent audit and 25 financial statements, received the presentation from the auditor, had the opportunity to ask questions, and discuss, and the opportunity to discuss the findings in the audits. The audit committee determines to approve the 25 audited financial statements, subject to the changes we just talked about, and accept the independent audit for 25. So that would be the resolution before the committee.
We have a
I'll move the resolution.
second. Alright, in favor, Dominic Mazza,
Aye.
Alejandro Polino, aye. Sarah Denali, aye. Jasmine Higgins, aye.
All right, the third one before you, 260303, is concerned with our annual review of the audit committee charter, which you will find included in your package. It's an annual report that the audit committee provides to the board. Each of our committees does this under their charter. They review the charter, they consider any changes, they report on any encumbrances that they've run into with respect to discharging its duties or any issues that they've run into. And the report is laid out under the major functions and responsibilities of the audit committee. And then it talks about the actions and activities of the audit committee during 2025. And that's talked about at the end here. One of the main purposes of the audit committee is what we've just gone through. It's both late last year when we engaged the auditor, and then during that time frame, overseeing the auditor's work, and then actually reviewing the auditor's product and report at the conclusion of the services. There are other activities in the audit committee charter. I won't bore you with them here, but they are included in the report. And so this is just to basically approve from the committee level its report to the board.
Can I get a first? Someone.
Second.
I am in favor, Dr. Mazza.
Aye.
Alejandro Polino. Sarah Genelli. Jasmine Higgins. So moved. Thank
And then finally, the final audit, or excuse me, the final resolution for the audit committee is 260304. And this is a requirement under the public authorities law that there be an annual assessment of internal controls. Beyond what's done at the audit, this is management's assessment. It obviously influences our audit results, but it is management's assessment, and you will see the report. And again, all of these things I'm talking about are posted on our website as soon as we approve them. They're all public documents. They're all contained on our public documents section of our website, just like any other public authority should do. And you will see the report that's attached to the resolution, which is the annual assessment for 2025, management's annual assessment of internal control. A large part of the internal controls within the authority are done at the staff level, to be fair, and then the board oversees them and hears about them. But, each month as we prepare our agenda items, there is a compliance calendar that we use that drives many of the agenda items, particularly the statutory and regulatory compliance requirements that you see before you, whether it's at the committee or the board level each month. And so you'll see that reference in the management effectiveness of internal controls. So this is to approve the report. Again, this is going to be posted on our website within a few days after your consideration and approval. So subject to that, that's all.
Great, thank you. Can I get a first? Second. In favor, Dr. Mazza.
Aye.
Alejandro Polino. Sarah Genelli. Jasmine Higgins.
Aye.
That's all.
Is there anything in the recommended approval of the Paris reports that we should?
Yeah, thank
cover?
you. That is going to be done at the board level. I wouldn't want to belabor it by doing it twice because we're talking to the exact same bodies here today. But the audit committee is the body that would have an initial review. You've all seen these already, they've been provided to you, but they're the body that would have the initial review. If there are any issues with them, again, I think Amy will probably run through them at the board level, but if there are any issues, we should talk about them now. It would be proper at the audit committee. Just to point out, I handed some things to Amy before the meeting. There's a few non-substantive things. Board terms are off maybe by a year here or there. I saw them. Believe me, Amy, I'll just put a plug in for her. She's doing 5 of these right now. And if you've seen these reports, I've inputted a number of these during my earlier part of my career in Paris. This is not a simple task. It's hundreds of pages and hundreds of boxes that have what I would call a default select. So if you don't unselect something, all of a sudden the whole report is wrong. This is not simple. And she's doing it with IDA, CRC, everything. And it's submitted to the ABO. It's all public and it's posted on our website. So there's a lot to do. All comes in and we have to wait for the audit. So you're all running at the end of March to try and get this stuff complete. So those reports are both in the audit committee and in the board package today. And if I could just get a recommendation, we can do a voice, I don't need a formal resolution, but a recommendation of the audit committee to recommend their approval at the board.
Sure.
If I could get a first and second.
Awesome.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? Great, thanks. Chair?
And then any other business, the annual financial disclosure forms? Those just are.
No, they're just passed out.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to discuss other than please get them in. They're due May 15th, before May 15th. And they're filed at the county level. We've gone through this, last year. I believe it's the first year we filed them. Right? It would have been, May of 25 is the first time we, and I did get some board members with some questions. Sometimes it's not user intuitive or so simple. There may be questions, so feel free to ask staff if there's any questions.
The
that
ins-
you have.
The instructions are included as well.
Yeah, and the instructions are in there, yeah. And when I say it's not simple, the instructions are like this big, so it's not and even the form is fairly large. So you'll see, it should be the second time for everybody at this point.
I think we have all but two, and staff will be reaching out to those board members who have yet to fill them in, right?
No,
We've got those for last year, we had them all.
that's for the board eval.
That's
Oh,
all
no,
else.
no.
All right, unless there's any other comments or questions, I'll get a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, do we have to do public comment? At the board meeting? Okay.
Okay, thank you. We'll now open the Board of Directors meeting for Thursday, March 12th.
Hang on a second.